and say they are investigating the disappearance cases and ask her about John. Lena shows them a file with information about John and the missing women. They show her a photo of a woman named Susie, who worked caring for John's sick father. Susie used to call her mother every day, but suddenly disappeared and stopped contacting her. After a few days, her mother received a letter supposedly from Susie, but didn't believe it was from her because Susie didn't know how to use a typewriter, and there were spelling mistakes, and her dog's name was written wrong. Susie had 2 dogs that disappeared with her. The investigators tell Lena they searched all animal shelters for Susie's dogs and found them in a trailer, where John was one of the residents. Lena believes John won't stop what he's doing until someone stops him, and she has spent her entire career chasing him. Heather, Jill, and Mike go to John's son's wedding, where John focuses on Heather and goes to dance with her. And he knows that she has problems at school, and she gets upset and expects that Jill is the one who told him that. He reminds her of when he promised her as a child that he would tell her the truth. Jill, Mike, and Heather say goodbye to John and leave. There is a car parked far from the house, and someone inside is watching John. The investigators hold a meeting with the officers and agree with them to monitor John's every move so they can find Susie's whereabouts. They tell them that John owns a group of agricultural lands and has a house near those lands, and that he called from that house to his own home on the same night Susie disappeared. They expect that Susie might be in that house. Heather searches for her birth certificate and asks Jill about it, saying she wants to know her real mother's name. Jill is shocked and wants to know the reason. Heather tells her that Mike treats her as if he is really her father, but Jill treats her like a pet and doesn't try to be her mother. Of course, this upsets Jill, and she is forced to tell Heather that her mother killed herself when she was in the women's shelter, and her Uncle John told them that and helped them adopt her. Heather is shocked by what she hears and leaves. Jill talks to her husband and apologizes for having to tell Heather the truth and not waiting until she turned 18 as they had agreed, and she is upset. Heather is standing, eavesdropping on them, then goes to her room and calls John, asking about her mother and wanting to know everything. She learns from him that her mother's name is Lisa and that she was always sad but loved her very much. John tries to convince her to travel and come to his house so he can tell her everything, and tells her not to let her adoptive parents know. Heather is hesitant and says she will think about it first. Susie's mother sees the messages she received and finds a message from Susie. The investigators read the message and find Susie saying she's enjoying her trip with her friend Jerry and her dogs, and that they're happy. They don't believe what's in the message and go to their chief to inform him about it, and they want permission to search John's house. The police go to John's house and search it. The investigator tells John that units have gone to search his second house on the farm. The investigator finds a passport there for someone named Isabella, whom he doesn't know. The dog stands in front of a locked room, and when they enter it, they find barrels. The investigator opens the barrels and finds 2 bodies inside. He calls the investigator on the phone, and they arrest John. The investigator finds a blank paper with Lisa's signature at John's house and realizes he is behind her disappearance. Lena gets a call informing her that John has been arrested, and Mike gets a call and learns what happened. Heather quickly searches for John and finds, among the missing persons photos, a picture of Lisa and her daughter Tiffany. She's shocked because Tiffany looks exactly like her when she was young, so she suspects that she might be Tiffany. She prints the photo, and Jill is devastated, unable to believe that John killed Lisa and gave them her daughter to raise. Mike wants to tell the police what happened, but Jill is afraid they'll be imprisoned or Heather will be taken away from them. Heather goes to them and shows them the photo, asking if she is Tiffany in the picture or not. Jill takes the photo and compares it to Heather's childhood photos in the album and finds they are the same person, meaning Heather is Tiffany. John gave her to Mike to raise after killing Lisa. The news is announced on television, but the identities of the bodies haven't been confirmed yet. They believe the bodies might be among the women who disappeared in the 1980s. Mike and Jill tell the police what happened, that John told them Lisa killed herself in the shelter and gave them her daughter to raise, and helped them with the adoption. And they take pictures with her. Heather finds a letter from John among the messages, and when she opens it, she finds him writing that he didn't hurt her mother or anyone, and that her mother's family wanted her to abort her when she was pregnant. After her mother gave birth, she was a single mother, and then Lisa willingly gave Heather to John so he could raise her in a good home because she needed a real family. But Heather doesn't believe him and gets rid of the letter. Jill and Mike celebrate Heather's birthday and tell her that now there is no one left as her guardian, and she tells them she wants them to officially adopt her. She borrows Jill's car, drives it, and goes to Lynn's office, then visits her mother Lisa's grave. And that's where the movie ends. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and tell us your opinion in the comments, and stay tuned for the next summary. They tell them they believed the adoption papers were real. The police conduct tests for Heather and take a DNA sample, comparing it to one of her real relatives, and confirm that she is indeed Tiffany. Heather sits alone, and Mike goes to her. She learns from him that John took $5,000 a long time ago and told him it was the adoption fee. Mike tells her about his and John's childhood, and that John always cared for him and saved him, and tells her that she is now with them and he doesn't want her to leave. The police chief holds a press conference and announces that the bodies have been identified as Susie and Isabella, and suspects John is behind Lisa's disappearance. The investigator talks to the chief about a woman named Beverly Bonner and tells him she was a secretary at the prison office in Kansas and resigned when John was released, then disappeared. Her family only received letters with her signature, and her husband sent her alimony every month to the post office, but didn't know she wasn't there. Jill, Mike, and Heather go to the lawyer, who tells them the adoption is now void and all the papers are forged. Heather, after confirming by DNA that she is Tiffany, will go live with her biological father, and she won't be able to use any identity papers in her life because Heather isn't her real name and she can't live by it. She'll stay like this until she turns 18. The investigators go to Beverly's storage unit and ask the man there about her. He tells them he never met her, but her brother lives abroad and his name is John. The storage unit belongs to John, and he invented the story that it was Beverly's and that he was her brother living abroad so no one would suspect him. The man opens the unit and the police search it, finding a barrel. When they open it, they find another body. The chief holds another press conference and announces the names of the bodies found, and the first is Beverly, who is among the victims. The second is Sheila Faith, and the third is a young girl. The chief announces they are accusing John of killing 3 new victims, making the total number of victims 8. Jill, Mike, and Heather watch the announcement on TV, and Jill is surprised because Sheila is the daughter of someone she knows. The 3 go to the lawyer again, who advises them that someone needs to talk to Colonel Stacy, Heather's biological father, to convince him not to file a lawsuit and not to take Heather to live with him. Heather says she will talk to him herself because she doesn't want her life to change and wants to stay living with Jill and Mike. Heather is in her room and calls the colonel on the phone. He's happy she called and wants to meet her, but she refuses because she's not ready for that step. He knows she wants to live with her adoptive parents and refuses because he sees her as his, and she must live with him. He tells her he'll wait for her to call him again, and she goes downstairs to Jill and Mike, crying and hugging them because she doesn't want to leave them. After that, she searches for John and the crimes he committed, crying. When John entered Lisa's room in the hotel, he took the papers she had signed from her. He tried to reassure her, but when Lisa turned and gave him her back to look at Tiffany, who was crying, John took out a hammer and hit her on the head, killing her. Heather goes to a psychiatrist and tells her that she can't live her life or deal with people after what happened, because whenever someone sees her, they ask her about John and keep staring at her. Mike testifies in court against John and says that he and his wife were trying to adopt a child, and when John found out, he told them he knew a lawyer who would help them. After a while, he called them and told them he had a little girl and made them go to his house to give her to them. He told them that the man who found the girl brought her to John, and he was the one who took their family photo together. That man disappeared a day after Lisa was killed. Jill and Mike are leaving the court and meet Lynn, Tiffany's grandmother, who tells them she wants to meet Heather. Jill and Mike go home and tell Heather about her grandmother, but she isn't ready to meet anyone. In court, the jury announces John is guilty. Heather goes to her psychiatrist and says she's excited to meet her grandmother and learn everything about her mother. Heather goes to Lynn's house, and her grandmother is happy to see her, shows her her mother's room, and gives her a notebook her mother made for her which says she loves her. Heather is touched and takes it to keep, and Lynn is excited and tells her she can't wait to get to know her and tells her stories. The investigators go to Lynn's office to thank her because she helped them and tell her they wouldn't have been able to catch John or save the last victim without her. Heather is at home, and Jill gives her a certificate of appreciation because they are proud of her. Welcome to CINEPRO, where we bring your favorite movies back to life with quick recaps, hidden details, and everything you missed. We will talk today about the movie Kidnapped by a Killer. The Heather Robinson story begins with a woman named Lisa, who is sitting in a hotel with her baby daughter Tiffany. She is scared and talking to her ex-husband's mother on the phone, telling her that she ran away because she wants to take her daughter from her, and also saying that she is a bad mother. Her ex-husband's mother tells her that she never said any of that and that it's not true, and wants to know who told her such things. Lisa is confused and tells her that she heard it from messages she has, and she also says that she has blank papers that she signed, and that John, her friend, made her do it. When she senses John at the door, she hangs up. Then, in 1993, a girl named Heather appears, riding in a car with her adoptive parents, Mike and Jill. They are going to visit John Robinson, who helped them adopt her, and John is Mike's brother. They arrive at John's house, and Heather looks at the paintings on the wall. John shows her his childhood awards and a family photo from when she was first adopted. We go back to 1985. John is in the office of a woman named Lena, who worked at the Ministry of Control and Punishment. Lena has a police file on John and blames him for being late to their appointment, but he apologizes, saying he had a business trip. He tells her he now works as a consultant and talks about a program he created with a group of businessmen to provide places for single mothers with children, training them for work and taking care of their kids. She confronts him about previous crimes of theft and forgery at his former workplaces and tells him that someone from the women's shelter told her that John went there asking if they had single mothers for his employment program. He gets upset and tells her he's doing it for his program, admitting he made many mistakes but is trying to find a way to redeem himself. Lena visits shelters, asking if anyone named John tried to contact them. She finds a shelter where the worker recognizes John's name and tells her he met a woman named Lisa there, who had a young daughter named Tiffany. Lisa ran away with John from the shelter to start a new family, then sent them a letter, which the worker gives to Lena. The letter reassures them about Lisa, and Lena visits Lisa's mother-in-law, who tells her that Lisa separated from her son after a big fight, after which he joined the army. Lisa took Tiffany and went to live in the shelter, then met John, who promised to help her find a nice job and a good place to live. John put her up in a hotel, and that night Lisa called her mother-in-law, upset and confused, accusing her of wanting to take her daughter. She also said John made her sign 4 blank papers. After that, John returned to the room, and Lisa hung up and disappeared. The mother-in-law gives Lena a letter she received from Lisa, saying the signature is Lisa's, but the writing isn't hers. It must be one of the 4 papers Lisa signed. Lena calls Lisa's mother Lynn, who also received a letter from Lisa with her signature but not her handwriting. Lena collects the 3 letters from Lisa, compares them, and contacts a police investigator named Gina. Lena meets Gina and asks about Lisa's disappearance case. Gina tells her John was the only suspect but claimed he knew nothing about Lisa. Lena finds an ad about another missing woman named Paula. The investigator says Paula saw a job ad in the newspaper posted by John under his real name, contacted him, and left her family to attend a training course in Texas. Paula disappeared, and after her disappearance, people received letters with her signature and certain letters written with it, meaning John wasn't the only one accused. The FBI was also trying to accuse him. Lena suspects John did something to the missing women. The investigator tells her John was arrested before and served 6 years for fraud and forgery. But at the time, police couldn't find any evidence against him in the missing women's cases, nor did they find any of the missing women. There is a 3rd missing woman named Catherine, who disappeared 3 weeks before John went to jail, after she also responded to a job ad in the newspaper. Her family also received letters with her signature. Lena calls Lynn, Lisa's mother, and tells her the police will release John because of his good behavior and medical reasons, apologizing for not being able to keep him in jail longer. Lynn was the reason John was imprisoned. In 2000, Heather appears as an adult, returning home with her adoptive mother Jane. They argue, then have lunch together with Mike. Later, Jill takes Heather shopping for a dress for her cousin's wedding. At John's son's wedding, police investigators show up at Lena's office, introduce themselves,